Good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
By the grace of God, we are highly favored.
We thank God. Those who are legalized, I hope that every legal person in your home is fine. And then the illegal ones too, I pray that you legalize it very soon. Uh, and
Amen.
the flood, I hope, is that Mr. Bedu? The flood, I hope you are not affected.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Thank God,
Not at all.
thank God that you are not affected by the flood. And we will continue with our
No,
lessons.
not directly, but we are
Okay,
affected indirectly, sir.
economically and social activities, everything has been affected. So sorry. And those who are football fans also, I hope your hope are not lost. You are still putting yourself together. We have
Yeah.
some football fans here.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
we
Yes,
have
sir.
football fans here, but we are not Ghana football fans, sir.
Oh, why? You have to be a patriotic citizen. So.
You bank.
Not to that
You
extent, sir.
bank.
Trust Ghana at your own risk.
That one
But
there for sure.
in all things, we should thank God. So we thank God for life. Once there's life, there's hope. Better luck. Maybe 2032. That time we bring the cup.
Yeah.
All right, so sorry for the delay, and now let's go into our action and see what we can do. Last time we started with the identification and functions of network devices, and unfortunately, we couldn't finish before our internet went out. Thank God we are back. Last week, I was highly engaged. Since your course rep, the two course reps, and my administrators have decided to shift my course to Sunday, I was not able to meet you. But for today, I'll make time. Only that we didn't start on time, but let's see what we can do for the session. Um, I know most of you have already gone through the slide and you have idea about what we are discussing. So I would like to know if what we have discussed last week, so last 2 weeks, if any of you have questions or concerns from any of the sessions before we continue. In fact, today I have to do 2 of the units in order to cover up for the last week losses. So if there is any question, please let me know so I can address before we move on. Any concern? Okay, good. Now, if there's no concern, then let's proceed. Last we started with a switch. We look at the function, the definition of a switch, and then the function of a switch. We define a switch as a device that connects multiple devices within one local area network, within a local area network. So everybody should know the difference. Switch connect or switch interconnect two or more devices within one local area network or within a LAN. That is a simple name, within a LAN. So within a LAN, you have to connect two or more devices. We use the switch. Now this switch intelligently forward packet from a source to a destination using what we call MAC address or CAN, CAM, which is content addressable memory content addressable memory. So within a same network, communication between the devices are done using MAC address. And the device that interconnects the other devices, that is the switch, must know other devices that are connected, such that it will be able to forward traffic from one device to another. And this is done using layer 2 devices. Layer 2 devices. And then this layer 2 device we are talking about here is a switch, a managed switch. So please note in the switch industry, or when we talk about the switches, we have managed switches and unmanaged switches. I think we have established this last week. Where I explained managed switches are the ones that have the ability to manage the devices intelligently. While the non-managed switches don't manage intelligently, they just receive packet and forward it to the next device. It means that all the devices that are connected to the switch will have access to a common collision domain. And if you have 20 computers connected to non-managed switch, all of them belong to one collision domain and a one broadcast domain. But with a managed switches, if you have 20 devices connected to the switch, each interface come with its own collision domain. So 20 switches, you have 20 devices connected to a single switch means that you have 20 collision domain, 20 collision domain, but one broadcast domain. But if the switch is how it's configured with a VLAN, then the number of VLANs available on the switch will give you the number of broadcast domains that you have. So in the future, I would like to encourage you to know the difference between a collision domain and a broadcast domain. The definition is just simple. Broadcast domain, it is the area where traffic collide with each other. The collision domain is the area where the traffic collide with each other. While broadcast domain, it is a reachable area on the network. So 2 or 3 of you can be in the same office and have connection to a single switch. If the switch is a managed switch, each one of you will belong to a different collision domain. But if there's no broadcast, if there's no VLAN configured on that switch, then all the 3 of you will belong to one broadcast domain, but different collision domain. So that is the difference. So layer 2 switches and the layer 3 switches normally provide us with multiple collision domain. And depending on the configuration on the switch, you also have its corresponding broadcast domain. So that is the explanation and the function of a switch. There are some switches that are able to combine the functions of a switch and at the same time ability to forward packets from one network to another. From our lesson last week, we know about routers. The routers are devices that are used to determine the best path of packets, and they normally forward traffic from one network to another. While switches interconnect devices on the same network, which is a local area network. So if you look at it carefully, the switches belong to layer 2 on the OSI model, whilst routers belong to layer 3 on the OSI model. But there are some switches that's a combination of the two, the switching and routing. That's the layer 3 switches or the multi-layer switches. They belong to both layer 2 and a layer 3. So you have to note the difference here. Any question before we proceed? Okay.
Sir,
Now,
please, I would like to ask this question.
okay.
Please, the unmanaged switches, can they be referred to as hubs, or there's a difference between unmanaged switches and then the hubs? Because I think hubs does the fact the unmanaged switch, yes.
Non-managed.
Unmanaged switch. Not
yes, okay.
Non-managed, unmanaged.
Hey, I'm confused. Are you talking about managed?
Like no, not the managed, the unmanaged switch.
Yeah, so the one that you don't manage, we call them non-managed. It's non, N-O-N.
Okay, non-managed. Do they work like the hubs, or there's a difference?
And they work just like the hubs. They work like the hub. We have 3 types. We have the active hub. We have the passive hub, and then we have a smart hub. So the non-managed switches work like active hubs. The active hubs are the types that have the ability of regenerating the signal. So when the signal drops, if you connect a hub to it, then they manage them. Let me see. The active one, they have the small ability of regenerating. But the passive one, they don't generate it at all. They don't regenerate the signal. So the non-managed switches, as I said, they work just like the active hubs. Then the smart hubs are the one we refer to as the managed switches now. So in terms of reference, if you have the smart hubs, then you can refer to them, or they can be likened to be the managed switches now. But now they are not in the market. So if you are going to buy a device for your network, don't write a device using the hub. If you write a hub now, somebody will be asking you, which generation are you? So just deal with the managed switches and the non-managed switches. That is the current one that we have now. Are you okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. So now I think we did the core functions of a switch. And the core functions of a switch, from what we did last week, we say that they connect devices in the LAN, which I've explained, like your printers, your servers, and then your computers. They connect them in the switch. And it enables them to communicate between devices within the same network. I think I've explained this one last week. I hope you remember. Okay. Then the next function is that they learn about each other intelligently using what we call MAC address. Now, the MAC address is the number given to the device to identify the device itself and then also provide the ID of the manufacturer. And we know that the MAC addresses for each device is made up of 48 bits. 48 bits and subdivided into two. So you have first 24 bit belonging to the manufacturer ID, while the last 6 bits of the MAC address also belong to the device itself. So when you look at it, they are made up of 12 characters, and the 12 characters are divided into two. Yes, and if you divide 12 by 2, you have 6. And each of the characters in the MAC address is made up of 4 bits. So let's do mathematics. 4 times, we have 4 bits, which is the neighbor, who is having 2 men. If you are sitting by if you have 2 devices, that's minimize 1. Or you can load them, or you can up the volume of 1 device. Now, if you have 4 bits, 4 by 6, what will be the total number of bits? 4 bits, which is the neighbor, multiply by 6. Hello? 4 by 6.
24.
24. So you multiply by 2. Multiply by
48.
2. I'll give you 48. So that is how the MAC address is calculated if you want to know total number of bits that is made up of it. So the first 6 characters, which each of them is made up of 4 bits, belongs to the manufacturer. So if you are using HP, Lenovo, or Dell, the first 6 characters that you have in your MAC address. I hope you all know how to check your MAC addresses on your computers. If you don't know, please just go to run. Okay, type CMD. You have this CMD. CMD backslash. Okay. So you have either use IP config, which will give you plain data. IP config space /all. Then you enter. So over there you see among the list, you see physical address. The physical address, that is the MAC address. So this is my wireless adapter. So you see the first 6 characters I'm talking about is this, from here to this place. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you have your machine, you can also try it and get it on your screen. You see the difference. It will give you the manufacturer's ID. What's the other one? The remaining 6 characters. Yes, I'm coming. The remaining characters will belong to the device. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one will be the one to identify my device. Yes, who is having problem?
Yeah, bedu.
Oh,
So you can
everything
easily type
fine?
the CMD and get your command, get mark, it will work.
Yes. So if you don't want to use this one, you can use the get mark as another form of command. Thank you. So CLS. But the challenge here is that when you use the get mark, you will not know which one is your wireless and which one is your device itself. That is where the challenge comes. But it's good. Thank you. And this one gives you the summary of it. Can you all see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now,
Yes, sir.
some of you may not have
Sir,
multiple
please,
ones
so
like
the IP config.
yes. You want a
I want to know
command?
the command for the first one, yeah.
Okay. Here is it. If you want to write, you can write it down. ipconfig space /all. Are we fine?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Then the other one, which is getma. Now, the getma bring you the summary. When you look at it, as I was explaining earlier, the first part of the MAC address, I said it's divided into two. So the first 6 characters, because the length of the MAC address is normally 12 characters. And each of the characters is made up of 8 bits. But we don't call it bit here. We use the word nibbles. So if you multiply 4 by 6 to give you 24. And then the next two sections, the second part also belong to the device. So if you check this one carefully, you will notice that this device comes with the same ID from the manufacturer side. First two, okay, the first three. Have you noticed it? The first three can have the same manufacturer ID. Hello, can you see from my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
We
sir.
can see you.
Then the last, if you come here from 2C84, and they are also the same, but the last end, they are different. And that is the way of identifying it. So this is likely, this machine, I have the LAN, and I have the Wi-Fi, which is a wireless network, WLAN, and I also have the Bluetooth connected or device on it. So all of them, because they are coming from the same manufacturer, you have the same number. Then I have some VMware devices which has been configured. So you can see with the TCP IP connection. So they also come with their own IDs, the manufacturing side and then other, but they also have different numbers at the end. So what you have to know is that if you have the same device like a laptop, let's take for instance EliteBook, and you have a particular series, it's likely the manufacturing side, the number will be the same, but when we come to the host, the end the devices will have a different numbers. If somebody too is having example like a Lenovo ThinkPad, you also have the same manufacturing ID, but because no two devices are supposed to have the same MAC address or physical address on the network, for the manufacturers, standard require that no two devices should have the same MAC address. The end number, the numbers that ends the MAC address will be different. And this is what the switches will use to learn about each device that is connected. So if you are having HP device, another person having Lenovo, another person having Dell, and you are all connected to the same switch, this is how the switch will distinguish or differentiate the various devices. So if any of you want to send data or want to send message to another, first it have to check where it's coming from and determine the destination where it is going. Do not forward it to that particular device. But if the device is not among the list that is in the MAC address table, then that packet cannot be sent. So you have to look for it before, or you have to be prompted by a command. The message cannot be delivered. So that is how the switches work. So I want to end here on this. If you have a question, as before I continue to discuss the rest. Any question? Okay, then let's finish. So now please spend some time and read the rest. So always note that with the MAC address, the switches will map the packet with their MAC addresses, or they'll mark the data onto their MAC addresses. Then it will be mapped to the port number. So if every switch that is connected to the device, the MAC address will be captured. It will map it to the port number on the switch. Therefore, if there is any message need to be sent, it will look at the source MAC address, the destination, and then the port where it is coming from, then it will send it. If it comes from a different device also and arrive, it has to map and then check where is the device connected, then to forward it to. So you have to know exactly where the device is connected and which port it is connected. If it's not known, then there could be no communication. Then we talk about the data forwarding. Data forwarding in switches use what we call frame or frame switching. So they normally forward it in the form of frames. So when you look at the OSI model that we studied some time ago, I know some of you will still remember, but others will forget. We'll come and we'll talk about it again. We have to know the functions of each of the layers. So frame forwarding, error detection, and correction take place at data layer. That is the layer 2. So it will use that one to be able to send the message to the right one. Now, we also have what we call unicast communication. Now, unicast communication is done between a device to device. Because the switches learn about the MAC address of each of the devices that are connected and map them to the port numbers. If the two devices are to communicate, they send it just from the source to the destination without going through the rest of the devices that are connected. But when you come to the non-managed switches, or which someone may refer to as hubs, because they don't have that intelligence of mapping the MAC addresses to the port numbers, communication that occurred over there, when there's a transmission, it enters into the device, then it is available to all the switches that are connected to the switch. So each of them may have an idea about the presence of the packet that have arrived. So the communication over there is about broadcast. It's done using broadcast. But here, because the devices are mapped to unique port numbers, they use what we call unicast communication. No other device is aware about what is done. Because of that, it reduces unnecessary traffic in the switch network when a switch is managed. And then also it improves the speed and the efficiency of packet delivery in managed switches. So I want to encourage those of you who become IT managers and system administrators, when you are setting up a network for better performance and then security purpose, you have to go in for managed switches. If you go for managed switches, even though the initial cost of the installation will be high, by the end of the day, you have efficient way of managing your network. Your network may not have unnecessary traffic, that is, congestion will not be occurring, and then also there will be an improvement in the speed of delivery of information, and then you also have an efficient system. So those of you who are from some of the offices that the system are not properly managed, sometimes those of you using internet and then use a server, you notice that at a point your internet will be on the laptop or the desktop machine or your phone, but you cannot browse. You see the connection over there, but you cannot browse. Because if you have a lot of traffic and then loopbacks occurring in the system seems to attempt to jam. They may have the connection all right, but the traffic flow will be very poor, such that you cannot easily open a page, neither can you send and receive a message on time. So you'll be there, and then the network will be connected, the internet is on, but there's no connectivity and there's no delivery of message. So in that case, what you have to do is you have to go back and put on put up the server, or you restart it, and then when it come back, then everything will start to flow. It will do up to a point. Later, you realize that you go back to the same level. The reason is that your system is producing a lot of feedback or unnecessary traffic by way of turning to flood the network. So you may see the service all right, but the delivery will become poor. So that is why you may be having that problem. So if any of you here you will be facing such problem in your offices, and then you always have to be turning off your server and then turning it on before the internet will flow, then you have to go back and then advise your people to restructure the network with managed switches so that you can have an efficient and improved secure network. Are we fine here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you have it, you are having challenges, you can reach out to me for consultancy. I will help you out. Only that you have to be ready for proper consultation. Then I will give you the idea to go. Don't go back and buy the normal switches. So if you do that one, it will be cheap for you to implement, but at the end, you have challenges. Now, the next function is filtering and traffic control. We have already talked about it. Now, switches filter traffic by not sending data to all devices, which I've already explained, unlike what happens in the hub or normal switches. Now, this prevents data collision, and then also it ensures faster communication. So one of the best thing the switch can offer to you is that it filters traffic, and then also it controls the traffic and make it become faster and then more efficient. Now, improving network efficiency. To be able to improve your network efficiency, switches, the managed switches are there to do this. And they help you to divide the network into smaller segments. So as I said, switches have ability of improving the network efficiency by providing you with isolated network or segmentation. And segmentation is one of the things we are going to do in our next meeting on our previous our future studies. Segmenting means divide the network into smaller units, and you can use a physical isolation or logical isolation. And the best thing to use here is to do the logical one, which is done by creating VLANs. That way, you are able to improve the performance, enhance the security, and make the management also very easy for you. So these are the things here. So each port has its own collision domain. I've explained this. If you have 24 port switches, and each of the interface for layer 2 switches provide you with different collision domain, and then the device itself provide a broadcast domain. So if you have 3 VLANs on it, 3 broadcast domain, 24 collision domain. Are we fine with the difference between collision domain and broadcast domain? Okay. Now, what do you gain when you do this?
We are fine.
Okay, so less congestion, higher performance, and a faster data transfer. These are the benefits when you use the managed switches in your network. Okay, let's proceed. Now, VLAN support. Switches support VLAN. I've talked about it. That's the creating of virtual VLANs. And then they also give you the ability to logically group the devices regardless of their physical location. This is going to be our project area. So last semester, some of you saw my assignment that I gave to you. This time, you are going to have it again, and then we'll do it. But I'll take you through how the VLAN are created, how we can logically group devices together, and then transfer data from one end to another. Now, examples of the VLAN is to put your department into various units, and like the finance department, IT will be put in a different unit, and this will help you to improve the security of a network, better network organization, and then also enhance the performance of the network. Okay. Can I continue?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then full duplex communication as another function. Switches provide full duplex communication. That is, switches support two-way communication simultaneously. It doesn't wait for one to finish before the other. Then devices can send and receive data at the same time. No waiting, unlike the hub. In the hub, when the packet device attempted to send to transmit and another one also attempted to transmit, and the packet collide. The two devices have to wait and then restudy the system before sending again. But over here, each device can send and receive a message at the same time. There will be no collision because of the multiple collision domain that is provided. Now, examples of switches usage where they are being used: offices, school, laboratory, data centers, and so on. These are all the areas. And how switches work, step-by-step approach. I think I've explained this. Devices send the data from the data in the form of a frame, and the switches read the source MAC address and then store it. Then switches check the destination MAC address, and then finally, if it is found, it's sent to only the device that is connected or the one that is connected to that port. So these are basic principles of switches, which have been clearly explained. So if in examination I ask you to simply or briefly explain the working principles of a switch, I'm sure you can easily outline this step by step. I hope you can all do that. Hello?
Yes, sir. We can do it.
Yes,
If it's
sir,
not
we
found,
can. Yes, sir, we can.
okay, then let's move on. So in a real life application, these are the things that you can do. And I want to, I think this is where we ended, show you advantages of a switch: faster communication, reduce network congestion, improve data security, efficient use of bandwidth, and support VLAN and scalability. Now, the reason why it supports and it provide efficient use of VLAN, so efficient use of bandwidth, is that traffic are not wasted. Traffic goes to specific devices. That is why it supports or it is more efficient. Okay, then the difficulties here in the switches is that more expensive than hub. That is the key issue here. The main problem is the cost. So majority of IT professionals or network professionals or network engineers, they prefer to go in for the non-managed switches because they want to cut down costs. At the same time, they end up compromising with quality. But I want to encourage you, if you are going to do the right thing, give the people the right devices, explain the functions to them and the importance. If they can buy into it, you go ahead and implement. When you are done, you'll be safe. Than giving them the substandard devices, at the end of the day, the network will not be functioning well. But sometimes some people would like to take their one-time premium, get your money today, and the following day, and when the problem comes, you start managing it. If you are not the one in charge and you do that, somehow you'll be safe. But remember, continual business is the best. If the person is having problem with the network, they may not maybe need your service again. But some people too, like every time they call them, they will come back and do something and they'll take something. It will not help. So do the right thing and then you'll be safe. So cannot connect different switches, don't connect to different network. If you want to do that, then you have to use router. So these are the key major disadvantages. Aside that, fine to go. Now, for the purpose of our studies, we may not be able to buy the devices ourselves for our practical demonstration. Because of that, I want to encourage all of you, please download this before we meet for our next session. Download this software, Cisco Packet Tracer. I'll copy the link and put it in your, in the chat, or I'll send it
So
to your
you made us download it last time.
So you are safe. Okay, so because we didn't meet last time, so you cannot use it today. But for those who have not downloaded it, please do so and install them on your machines before our next meeting. I hope everybody will do that. Okay, this is a diagram of how switches are connected. For those of you who have not seen it before, this is a disadvantage. Hello.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Hi.
please, can
Sorry,
you put
sorry.
the link
Come
in the
again.
can you put the link in the chat box again so that some of us to download it again, because
Ah,
me like this, I lost my machine during this one, so I have to.
were you affected by the flood?
Yes, sir.
Oh, where? Accra or outside Accra?
So I was even a new one I got recently, and it's damaged again, so I have to get another one.
Sorry. Then you really need it before we start our practicals. Thank you. I finished these fundamentals. The rest will all be practicals. So it's unfortunate. Maybe you can talk to the course rep. You'll make arrangements for you, and they are very good. As course rep and assistants, they are politically connected. They can link you up to get one for the course.
They were even affected, so they also need help than us.
Oh, who is that? Who are those?
Angie.
And affected by what? By the flood or by theft or loss? What happened? Is that the PRO for the course rep?
That's your TA.
Which of them?
Angela, your data the supplier.
And the data didn't come. Angela, do the needful. Yeah, that's it. She should do the needful. Oh, I bet this thing is very simple. You just okay. Course web says they have sent it to you, but I'll still do that so that those of you who have issue, you can download it. If you register with NetAcard, you can even get it from there. I remember
It's on net
telling you.
account. Cisco net account. I think it's there. That's why I downloaded mine.
Yes. So please, NetAcard, you get it there straight. And remember, you are submitting a certification from NetAcard for networking. Last visit, your last meeting on campus, face-to-face meeting. When coming, bring it along, just as you did last time. So please remember to start your course. If you have not started, start now. Those of you who are on it, check the date or look at the date before we assess. We're not going to accept the one I have done.
Sir, please, is it a different course? Are you doing a different
Yes.
course as to last semester?
Yeah, last time it was data communication. This one is networking.
Hallelujah.
So by the time you finish the course, then you are
But
fully.
I thought it's the same.
Yeah, no, they are not the same. They interdepend on each other, but not really the same. This one is more practical than the previous one.
Sir, last semester, I like this. I did basics in networking. So, basic networking.
Yes,
I
good.
did networking.
Basic. So now go and do the advanced one.
I did advanced networking.
So do the now do we have the advanced? So do another advanced one. I will not accept the last semester. I'll check the date starting from June. The date should start from June to August. So if you bring anything, the date is below June, it will not be accepted. I've marked the other ones when you come for face to face, you come and pick them. They are all ready for you.
So, sir, can we do the same course? Can we do the same course again?
Should be advanced one, not the same. If you want to go and repeat it, you should go for the advanced one. Don't go for the same one. But if you want to do it for repetition, that one there, it will be your advantage. I will accept it, but I'll prefer you doing the advanced one. So there's a tutorial on the Cisco packet tracer over there, how to learn it. Please take the fundamentals before we meet. All right, the next device is a bridge, which we have already discussed. Bridge is, as the name implies, it's the device that connects two or more network segments, and then it filters traffic based on MAC address to reduce the unnecessary data transfer, just like the way the switches does. But today, modern network bridges are also not used, because if you use a managed switches, the work that the bridge will do, that's the same work your switch will do. So it will become like redundant using the bridge. But the difference here is that the bridge will connect two separate networks to do what we call to link the segment together. And when it does that, what it will be doing is that it will be improving the traffic control. Those systems that uses the hub, because they are not intelligent, they bring in the bridge in order to improve the connectivity between the two separate segments. So you can have a hub at one end, another hub at another. In between the two segments, then you use a bridge. So that's why it was used. So bridge operate on layer 2, while the hub operates in layer 1. So if you look at it technically, since the bridge is operating layer 2 and the switch is also operating layer 2, basically they are doing the same job. So you cannot use bridge and a hub and a bridge and then a switch, a managed switch on the same network. So if you are able to acquire a managed switch on your network, then there's no need for you to go for a bridge in order to segment your network. All the managed switches, they come with additional link, additional port that is used for the segmentation. So anytime you want to interconnect two different networks, then you have to use that port to connect, so that you can get your connection done, and the filtering will also be good. I want to see I can get you the video, a picture of the managed switch that comes with the additional port for the uplink. When you see the features, it's normally, let's say, so Cisco, let's say Cisco managed switch 24 ports. If you come with the image, yes. All right. Can you all see the picture on your screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is what we are going to use for our practicals. And because we cannot afford number for all of you, we'll be using the simulation. The simulation comes with this one. So when you look at this carefully, it comes with the regular port. So this is the normal, the area for the normal port, fast Ethernet. So this one transmits with 10 by 100 gigabits per second. Then when you come here, we have this one is the special port that provides the access for you to connect to another segment. So instead of going for a bridge to do that connection, the switch provides that interface for you to do that. So when you connect here, this port here uses gigabit interface. So it's even faster than the regular one. So here give you 10 by 100 by 1000. So you connect a cable from here, then the next switch will also have the same port. So you connect from here to the other switch, then it will do the link between the two segments. So modern network, if you are using the managed switch, layer 2 switches, this is how you interconnect two segments. Some even come with this one. Can you see this portion, the down here? These ones are the SFP. That's a small form factor port. Small form factor port. It can, if you have the socket connected, it can allow you to connect directly to fiber link. So instead of you going for a media converter, this switch also provides that interface to enable you to connect to a fiber link without going for extra media converter. That's the two at the same time. And then it also support the Type C for further administrative purpose. If you go to the back, I don't know if I can scroll to the back. you see the management port, which we'll be discussing it into detail in our future studies. So basically, this is the type of device, or this is the example of a device we are talking about. The layer 2 switch that we are talking about, this is the image of that switch that we are describing. And you can see the price over here. And if any of you want to go to the market and compare, if you ask the price of this and compare it to the normal switch, you will see that there's a vast difference. What's the current rate now? I'm sure it's above 10, 11, right?
Say $12.
Come again.
12 cities.
Okay, so if it's 12, you multiply it by, I mean, this is 58. So you run it to maybe 60 or run it to 58 without the other one, right? You see 582. If you multiply it by 12, you see the amount involved for one switch. Even though the cost is high, but it will serve a good purpose. And if you compare this, it can buy as many as, if I'm not mistaken, between 5 to 6 normal switches. But now the normal switches, each of one of them, you can get some less than 1,000, some will be above 1,000. So if you are multiplying this, those of you who are business professionals, you can convert this one to cities and you see the difference. So you have to know what we are talking about and how you should apply it when you have the opportunity to lead, or if you are the manager, you are going for a setup, you should know the kind of device you employed on your network. Any question before we proceed? Okay, so let's come back and continue. These ones are all the preliminary, so we are here to start the business for the day. Bridges is out. So now please the rest go and read on the functions of a bridge and those ones. Now comparison of the network devices. We have the device name, the address type, the OSI model that's to operate on, the performance type, and then the key features. You can see them here. What I want you to do is to make sure you are able to understand the functions of each of them, like a router, switch, hub, and then especially router and a switch. Note the difference. Because if you are asked to compare the two, you should be able to use the OSI reference model to do the comparison, or you use the medium by which they transfer data. Now let's look at this. With routers, the routers, they connect different networks together. I hope we have explained this at the earlier part. Whilst when you come to switches, they connect devices in the same network, that is local area network. So while the routers connect two different networks together, the switches connect devices in the same network. Now, in terms of address that they use, routers uses IP addresses, whilst switches uses MAC address. And when you come in terms of the bridge and the hub, for hub, nothing happened. And then when you come to the bridge, they also use the MAC address. That's went down to the same point that I raised, that switch and then bridge, they act on the same layer. Therefore, they are of the same, they have the same function. Now, when we come to the OSI layer, you see that OSI with the router operate layer 3, whilst switches operate layer 2, and then the hub layer 1, as you can see, and then bridges the same layer 2. But if you have the non-managed switches, then they also operate on the same layer 1. Now, in terms of performance, router is high and switches very high, depending on the way it is being graded. Then, in terms of the bridge, low is at medium level, and this hub is low. Now, the key features: router intelligence, switch intelligence forwarding, and then when you come to hub, none, and then traffic filtering is also done in bridges. So these are some of the things that you should be able to understand and compare them, especially with the router and then the switches, the routers and the switches. Any questions on them? Okay, no question. Then we are almost done with this. So please read the summary. Summary of each of them has been given to you, what you're supposed to know. Now, the last part that we did not touch last time at all, we have the access point. This one is the commonest one, everybody knows. AP. That's for you to be able to transmit and receive wirelessly, you are supposed to provide the wireless network, which is called WLAN. Now, the WLAN help you to do this. How do you get it up? You need the access point. So you say access point is a network device that allow wireless devices like your laptop, smartphones, tablets to connect to the wired network using Wi-Fi as a wireless communication. Then it operates as a bridge between the wireless and then the wired network. And the functions of the access points, the major thing is to make it possible for you to have the wireless network connected. Normally, for a department where you have some locations, there is no means for you to provide cable, or you have devices which don't have the cable for communication, or to make it difficult for them to have connection, then you have to use the wireless medium in order to enhance the connectivity. One, to support your mobility, and then two, to make it portable for you to move from one place to another. So these are the reasons why you need. So the main functions of access point is to provide you with the wireless connectivity, and then also to extend the network coverage to the areas that are not covered. We call them the dead zones, so that those people will also have the connection. So if you have an existing and you want to extend it, you can also provide. Then you also connect to the wired network by making sure that your devices are able to connect. It supports multiple devices. There are a lot of challenges that come with it in terms of security. It is very vulnerable because it is not easily confined. So if you want to secure it, you have to provide a secure mechanism to be able to prevent it. So security is one of its challenges, but it offers a very convenient means of communication. So the security mechanism used are, we have the WPA2 and then WPA3. That's the Wi-Fi protected access 2 and 3, which provide us with encryption. Then you also have authentication using the username and password. So you can use a radio server to do that. So depending on whatever method that you want to use. Another person can also use mark filtering or mark filtration. It is good, but it's sometimes very tedious to manage. Any device that will connect to the network must have its own MAC address captured before we can connect it to the network. It's sometimes very difficult. So examples of these are the home type that most of you are using, office access points, and then the hotspot for public uses. Any question? These are the conceptual circuit diagram to show how the wireless network is done. Do you have any question on this one? Okay, that means that you are all good. All right, now advantages. I've talked about the mobility, easy to install, support many devices. Now signal interference. Now, firewall is the last device we'll talk about. Then we are done for the devices. Firewall, they are security devices which comes in the form of hardware or software. Some also come in a combination of a hardware and a software. The main purpose is to monitor and control incoming and outgoing traffic based on the predefined security rules. And the traffic that comes in and the traffic that leaves out are very important. For every network, you have to define your boundaries. We'll come to perimeter security, we'll delve much into it. The traffic that comes in are called inbound. and the one that leaves are called outbound. So you can also use the term ingress and egress. So when you go out there, you hear a term ingress and egress, it's just referring to the inbound and outbound, or traffic that move into the network and the one that move out. Any question? The main purpose is to protect unauthorized access and then any form of cyber threats. Now the functions, traffic filtering, network security. Then you also have access control, allowing access to only authorized users of the system. Then restrict specific service or ports. So those of you who like to go into network security, this is one of the areas you can specialize. You can also do your project in this area if you want to specialize. There are different vendors that provide firewalls. It's not likely you have master of all. But if you want to specialize in firewalls, then you need to select a brand and then also go into it. There are others like CyberROM, we have FortiGate, Fortinet, and then other different types. So depending on which one you are interested in. Now, this one, the main purpose, prevent attack, block DOS, and then intrusion detection, and then malicious traffic. Some have both the intrusion and detection system at the same time. Others have only the intrusion. But the modern 4G firewalls all comes with the intrusion and detection system. Okay. Then the types of firewall, there are a number of them as I mentioned earlier. You may have the hardware, which comes with the device protecting the entire network. Your router is there and the other one. Then you have the software base also, which is normally installed on a computer. Sometimes you can install it on a computer and put it on the network. It can serve as a gateway, or you can install it on the individual network. Sorry, individual devices, like your normal antivirus that you use. Then the last type you have here, which is the current one, is the next generation firewall. It comes with advanced features, with a deep inspection, application control, and an intrusion prevention system. Any question on the firewall? Okay, so they serve as a gateway to the system. So this is the way it can be implemented. That pictorial view of how firewall are connected. Normally, the firewall comes first before your router, and after the router comes the switch. So if you are here, and then let's say the company doesn't have money, and you cannot afford the firewall, then some people can put the router in place of the firewall. But under normal circumstance, you come with the firewall, then followed by the router, then the switch continue. The switch will be the last one because of its level of security in terms of prevention of traffic. Switches are not designed for security purpose, even though they provide you with a certain level of security, but for higher security, you have to go in for the corresponding one. And the firewall must be the type that comes with the intrusion and detection system. Otherwise, then you have to use IDS first before you use the firewall. But modern current next generation firewalls, they come with the intrusion detection system. So they have to be placed first on the network before your router comes in. But the arrow is supposed to be in and out. It shouldn't be just one way. So if in future you are drawing, make that change. Okay. And again, there's a comparison here that have included the access points and then the firewall. So just note, with the wireless device, the address type is a MAC address and IP. While with the firewall, it's about the IP address and then the rules that are set. Then look at the layers. With the access point, it's at we have layer 2 and then layer 3. Then when we come to the firewall, we have layer 3 and then layer 7. In fact, 6 and 5, the gateway, the firewall, and the wireless access point, some of them, depending on the type of access point we are dealing with, they can also be used on the layer 7, as well as the establishing the session and the connectivity. So basically, 7 is application. So we can define some rules on the wireless access point also, but not all of them can do that. So depending. So but the basic ones are layer 2, layer 3, and then layer 3, layer 7. So if you are asked to list devices and indicate the OSI layers that they operate on, I believe everyone here can do so, right? Questions and concerns before we move on to the next one? Okay, if no question, it means that everything is fine with you. All right, so thank you so much for the first session. And let's move on to the next. Next thing, we are supposed to look at the different network cables and then connectors, understand Ethernet standards and then the application. And thank God we have done the cables last time. So this particular topic, we're going to just run through, then you do the reading. But if anyone is here having a problem or concern, you can let me know at the specific area and I'll address it. So the objective for the next session under the network devices and cabling is 1, to describe the different network cables and connectors, and then 2, to be able to understand Ethernet standards and their applications that we have. So, can we say that objective 1 has already been treated? Come to the message as we go. Or I have to go through. Hello.
Yes, you can go.
Yes, go through.
Hi. Move on or go.
Sir, please, you can go through for us for a quick reminder.
Okay.
Go through soon.
All right. So now, when we come to networking, basically we have 3 main types of. Okay, let me start from here. Computer transmission medium is divided into 2. We have the wired and wired and wireless, or guided and unguided. Now, over here, our attention is focused on the cable, and the cable is always the means by which data is transmitted between devices in the network. And the purpose or the choice of a cable is always dependent on 1, the speed that is required on that network. Then 2, the distance that we can use to cover. And the third one is about the reliability of the connectivity. So if you are going to set up a network, you should be able to know which of the areas that you are looking at. Are you looking at just the establishing the connectivity, or just to ensure that you have the speed on it? So the speed will be determined by the type of transmission medium that you use, and the distance will also be determined by the type of transmission device. So if you want to cover about 200 meters, you have to choose its corresponding transmission medium. So if you come to the cable, we have 3 main types. For cable network, we have 3 main types. We have the coaxial cable and the twisted pair cable. Twisted pair cable comes also with different categories, the shaded type and the non-shaded type, which we discussed last time. And we had a practical session on it, which I know most of you have enjoyed that lesson and you have experienced it for the first time. I know some people too have challenges, but we are meeting it again. I want to encourage this particular session, because we are having only 1 meeting on our visit to campus, then we can do this together with the one that we could not do last time. So I'll just give you the overview as we have already done it last time, and then I will encourage that we maintain your groups. You at the group still existing for the data communication? If
Yes,
they
sir.
are,
Yes.
good.
Yes,
I
sir.
want to
Yes, sir.
let's maintain it because you will still need the same tools that we used last time. And this time you add punch down tool to it and a patch panel. So course rep, start organizing yourself before you come, get the devices and the equipment that we'll need for the practicals. I will reserve this particular, I will go through with you now, but we'll reserve the practical session for you to come. In that case, we'll learn how to do the patching. That's the termination of the faceplate and then also termination of the patch panel using the twisted pair cable. So that will be our major practical. So I will encourage that those of you who have already purchased the cables, when you are coming, come along with the remaining one. And as a class, you get at least, because of your numbers, get 2 patch panel. I'll also provide you 1, so that you become 3. Then for faceplate, each group, are you 5 or 3 in the group? How many members? How many members in the group?
Five.
Five in a group.
5. Then please, I will encourage that you have each group should come with 2 faceplates, 2 faceplates each, and each of the faceplate come with 2 gun. Buy the double gun, don't buy the single gun. So when you buy that one, at least you have 4. So each person will have a chance to terminate. I'll provide some for demonstration purpose and maybe course rep and assistant together with some selected people that may be determined to do it that day. So I'll make provision for about 5 people. But the group, because of the number, please, I want to encourage that each group get 2 of the faceplates, and then the whole class get 2 patch panel. So that when we come, we shall break into our group just as we did last time, and we spend a session for the practical period. Also, we'll spend a period for the practical session. We're not going to do any theoretical discussion again. We just introduce you the concept, and we break into your groups. Then we can terminate the cable as we did last time. So, those of you who have forgotten the IJ45 termination, please try and do your best yourself good to revise them. We'll not repeat that one again, but rather we'll move on to the ones that we could not do. But should we assume that anyone who go through this course should be able to terminate at least straight through cable and then coaxial cable? I hope you can all do that.
Yes.
Yes, please.
With God.
All things are possible.
Oh, this one here. God has his fatal, but at least you have to do your human part because we have done it before. So just go back and revise, and then God will also complete the rest for you. So, by way of definition, twisted pair cable, this is not the first time you are meeting it. We have already discussed it. So we say that it consists of 2 insulated copper wires twisted together to reduce interference. And then we explain what interference is. That's the distortion of data. And it's normally lead into what we call noise. And when there's noise, there's always a loss of data. So we said it is the most commonly used cable in the internet network. So this one, something that we have done already. So we have the UTP, we have the STP, which you all know. So what we do is that just revise our previous lesson, then all these places we are good to go. EMI is one of the greatest defects in the twisted pair cable. So to improve that, we now use the STP, that is to reduce the EMS. Then we have another one called SFTP, as a shaded forward twisted pair, normally for underground cable, underground works, and then also areas that requires extra protection. You use the STP or direct sunshine. So it gives it maximum protection as well as shielding of the data. So that is the same thing that we have done. So on this part, I want to encourage you, please do yourself good by reading through. You'll be fine. Coaxial cable is also another one we discussed, which is used to connect devices together, and it can be used for these television antennas and the CCTV cameras. It has stronger signal in terms of transmission, better shielding than the twisted pair cable, and it also resists interference. So if you are going to use it in the area where it will be exposed to the direct sunshine or the atmospheric conditions, then it's also recommended. Then you have to get it corresponding connectors. Just that sometimes looking at the way it is, the connectors are not the same as compared to our regular devices. So when you are going to use it, you use them at a place where you receive a signal to maybe a router or your dish, especially those who use satellite, they use that type of cable. And then for our televisions, we also use them for antennas. So that is the use of the coaxial cable. It comes in two forms, thick net and thin net, and they have advantages. So areas like CCTV cameras, you can apply this one. We have the type that uses this. You can also use a twisted pair cable, depending on the type of camera you are installing. So just read on it. Then the fiber optic cable, we discussed it also last time. They are type of cable that is used for long distance transmission, as well as the areas where there's no there's a requirement for this interference control, because this one is normally immune to electromagnetic interference. So areas where you have a high resistance and then there's a lot of distortion, a lot of EMI, fiber optic cable is also recommended. Just that it's expensive. So we normally use them as a backbones for long distance transmission. And then maybe you have a campus or a factory where you want to interconnect two different buildings together. They can use them to the interconnection or distribution on the campus or in the premises. And the connectors used is the same thing. So just go and then price what you have done. IJ45 for normal Ethernet cable, IJ11 for telephone lines, and then BNC for coaxial cable, and the SC and the ST as well, or LC, they are meant for fiber optic. Any question on these cables before we proceed? Okay.
We're good.
All right, so please read through the rest. All these ones, they are things that you are supposed to revise. First one, challenges in networking. Now, challenging networking, the most challenging thing that you face is when your cable is damaged or it's being interfered by electromagnetic interference. Then you have to do reconfiguration or replace it with an appropriate one. And then the incorrect configuration is another thing that you encounter in networking. Mostly in terms of networking, these are the difficulties that you face, misconfiguration, and technical people are fought at this place. Sometimes when you are having your own personal challenges, you end up flashing out some of the things that you make a mistake. That will lead to connectivity issues. Sometimes when the devices are old, like when we're talking about hubs and other one, and they also give you troubles on the network. Then the cost involved, the cost elements, depending on the type of network you are setting up, either small or medium or enterprise network, the cost involved. So I will encourage that don't compromise quality with cost. So wherever you go, better do the right thing than trying to compromise, and then the system will also not give you the best. But notwithstanding, don't also go and do inflation of your figures. Some of you, you give the budget for the right device. When the funds are released, then you go and use the other one. That one, it will not be fine. As IT professionals or networking, you have to have both integrity, and then you must be available for people to use at all time. So when you give out estimates, make sure you use the right thing. Okay. So that is about the overview for that. Next one is to talk about Ethernet switching fundamentals, how switches work, how MAC address are switched. This one I've done it, so I'll just go through that one too fast, then we move on. Then I've laid all my foundation for our practicals to take off. Are we fine? Any question on this? Okay, no question, no concern. Next thing, Ethernet. Now, I would prefer you jot this thing down. Please write the objective so that I know that I've done this one with you officially. Those of you who have something to write, kindly put down this objective to let me know that I've officially taught it. I've taught this in the class, and then everybody is fine. Explain how Ethernet switching works. Understand MAC address and their roles in switching. Describe switching table or CAM table. I've explained this in the other side. So I want you to have a record of it so that next time if I'm not here or I ask you, you'll be able to produce a justification. Don't take pictures. So those of you who take pictures and then you forget, it will go to your images. You don't know where it is. So when you are asked, have you done this? And there's no show, please spare some few minutes and then write this down for record purpose. Edward, are you done?
Yes, sir.
Or you have taken picture?
I'm done.
Which means, is it by pictures or by writing?
So both. I wrote it, then I took a picture as well.
Okay, please. Then let's move on. The rest of the class, can we continue?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please. Yes, sir.
Let's move on. Now, it is just about what I've explained at the other side. Now, when we talk of Ethernet, in networking, please, when you hear the word Ethernet, don't get confused. It's different from internet. Now, Ethernet is a protocol that normally works on the normal local area network. Or you can refer to the connectivity that you use on the normal network using the twisted pair cable, or let me put it this way, copper cable. Ethernet is a protocol that works on the copper cables. So both coaxial and then the twisted pair, they all use this as a means by which data is transmitted. So when you come to local area, modern local area network, you'll be hearing the word more of this Ethernet. So we say Ethernet switching is a fundamental technology used in modern local area network, that is LAN, to enable efficient communication between devices such as computers, printers, and servers. So for data to be able to move on the local area network using copper cable, the protocol that allows this transmission to take place is known as Ethernet. It is different from the internet. Internet is a interconnection of devices over global or large geographical area for the purpose of providing communication, information, and then wide web services. But if you come to Ethernet, then it's a protocol or technology used for data communication on the local area network. So network switches normally utilize this. So it's a network switch is a hardware device that connects multiple devices within a network. Is there a question?
Yes.
Okay,
Is
let
there
me land
types
on
of
this.
Ethernet?
Come again.
Is there types of Ethernet?
Types of Ethernet.
Yes, sir.
That may be referring to the devices that are involved. Because remember, I said Ethernet is a protocol used in copper network. And the copper network, we have the twisted pair, and we also have the coaxial cable, and we have devices like a switch, we have a hub, and then we have a repeater. All these ones, they all for use the same Ethernet technology for communication. Are you fine?
I'm good.
Yes. But the intelligent one uses the switch network. There are other ones that uses a CSD, that's a collision. We have the carrier sense multiple detection, and then the other one carrier sense just the collision take place, but there's no detection. So for the modern networks, for intelligent forwarding of packets, it uses the Ethernet technology to do that. So we said a network switch is a hardware device that connects multiple devices within a network and forward data intelligently to correct destination. That's how I explained earlier how it's able to manage to learn the MAC address of all the devices that are connected and then map them to their respective port numbers and then send packet from one destination to another using what we call unicast communication. But the other ones, they don't do that. So they will use the media access control, which is you have the carrier sense multiple detection, carrier sense collision detection, and then carrier sense collision detection, and then I'll look at that one. There are two of the protocols, but these days those ones are no more working. It's the Ethernet that is carrying out all the transmission on the network on the twisted pair cable. So now, for basic operation of Ethernet switching, Ethernet, looking at it based on the previous understanding, for the devices to be able to communicate, the connecting devices have to be known by the switch, and their MAC addresses need to be captured in the MAC address table, as I explained earlier, or CAM table. And the CAM stands for Content Addressable Memory. If it's not there, there's no way the device can receive or send message. So it's an Ethernet switch work based on MAC address, that is the media access control, which is a unique hardware address assigned to each device. So compared to the previous one that I've explained, all this one has already been touched on. So I want to encourage you to go and read on it so that I don't repeat myself again. I hope you do that.
Yes, sir.
So for basic operation, if a device is connected to the switch and then it's not recognized, I said it earlier, it cannot transmit. Now, for the Ethernet frame structure, this is how it works. An Ethernet frame contains a destination MAC address, source MAC address, type or length field, payload, that is the data, and then the frame check sequence, that is the error detection. So all this one comes in to make it work. So there are methods of communication that is done in the Ethernet. We have what we call stored and forward switching. Stored and forward switching. When you come to the stored and forward switching, that is the way the packet has been transmitted. When the packet is moving from one device, it will be sent to the switch. The full message will be dropped. Then the switch will now determine where it is going. Then if it identifies the destination, then it will forward the packet from the switch now to that particular device. Now, the advantage of this is that it is reliable, but its disadvantage is that it is slow in terms of operation, because for the device to wait for all the packet message to be dropped and now check a sequence number, where it is coming from, where it is going before it forward. By so doing, it delays the process. So it is a bit slow. But there's another one called cut-through. That one, the moment it sees the packet, read the first few characters, which is the first 6 characters of the device, then it will forward it to the destination. It doesn't allow it to download everything before forwarding. So it makes it very fast. So that is what we call cut-through switching. So in terms of the mode of communication, how the devices transmit, or we call it switching, you must know these technologies. So store and forward, receive full packet, and then the switch will receive the full one and know the source and the destination before it forward it to the destination. But the cut-through, it just start forwarding. As soon as it knows the destination, see the destination address, it doesn't read the content, then it will forward it. Because of that, it is fast in transmission, and then the disadvantage is that it does not check error. So if there's a problem, it will forward it just like that. Then the next one is have we have fragment free switching. This one is previously we can call it passive, but it is just closer to that of the. You can say that it's between the stored and forward and then the cut through. This one a bit you read the first part of the message at least to have a fair idea before it forward it to the other side. Because of that, it is also a bit reliable, and then it tries to balance the speed and then the reliability. So that is about this one. So are you fine with the switching techniques?
Sir, please, I would like to ask a question. With the
Okay,
methods of switching methods, are these methods done at the configuration stage, or we have switches that come with these qualities?
This one do with the managed switches, the manageable switches. They have these features that you can manage. But you, the user, you don't have control over this. The system adapts it and then they use. But they are the manageable type. The non-managed switches don't have this intelligence. Are you fine?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's fine. I'm fine, sir.
Now, types of Ethernet switching as here. We have the layer 2 switching, which is the OSI. That one uses the MAC address and the common in the normal LAN that we have. Then we have the layer 3. So the one who asked the questions I told you depend on the type of device that are involved. So if you have layer 2, then you can use the one on the OSI layer. Means that that one would use only the MAC address to do the transmission. But here, when you have the multi-layer, then you need to be able to combine both the MAC address and then also use the IP address when it becomes necessary to forward from one network to another. So that's the difference here. But me, I will encourage that if you have the means, leave the forwarding of packets to the router to do. Then you free or switch from combining the two functions. Okay. Now the rest are things that when you read, you understand. So let's move on. This is how it is done. So illustration of the switches connected. And once it's done like this, each device like the PC1, PC2, PC3, each and a PC4, each one of them, their MAC address have to be captured by the switch. And then based on that, PC1 can send message to PC3. PC3 can also send to PC4. And then vice versa. That make it much more intelligent and easy to handle. Explanation of the process. And each of them will have their MAC address marked to the particular port number or port interface. So traffic does not go through any other. So if PC1 is sending to PC3, the packet will not go to PC2, neither PC4. It will move straight from PC2 to PC3, and then vice versa. PC2 to PC4 will also do the same thing. Okay, so conclusion, we have concluded on that. Now, understanding MAC address and then their role in Ethernet switching. All this one have been explained already. I think I've explained the MAC address to you, right? 48-bit, how the calculation is done. I hope everybody, those who were here, you got it. First part belong to the manufacturer, and then the second part, the device itself. When we come to IP addressing, as we remember last year, we did. We have the host ID, and then we have the network ID, and then we have the host ID. So the network represented by 1, and then the host by 0. Over here, the first part is being represented by the manufacturer, the vendor of the device, and then the second part identify the device itself. So that is how it is done. Are we fine?
Good. Good.
With this, I think we are done with this particular one. Any question before I go to the switching table? All these ones, please read. Read. This one, read through. Security features. That one, we use the MAC address to do. When we come to the configuration, I'll show you how you can do port security. All right, so on this note, we have come to the end of this session also. What you should know is the MAC address or the CAM. They are means by which the switches learn about devices that are connected, and they base on their MAC addresses for communication on the same network. Yes, I hope you can see. Our next topic is to start the VLAN configuration. So please get the switch lesson done before we go through that. And I will learn about the concept of the VLAN concept and the benefits. We'll also learn about VLAN configuration, how to configure access, and then the transport. These are the areas we are going to spend some time to do the practical demonstration. Thank God we did most of the thing last semester, so this time it's just going to be an addition. What I wish I can add before we go is to encourage you to go and read on this, the layers. We have done this, so let me add that one. I know that I've cleared this. The next time we start with the TCP and then the IP address, which I have also done. So, hello, any question before we leave? I'm having 6 minutes to finish this one. Any question? Okay. Now, if you remember, last time we met, we discussed about 2 major layers in data communication and networking. They are still valid in our studies today. No networking can be complete without you understanding the 2 models, TCP and then the OSI. Now, for the purpose of our studies, I want you to know this. You should be able to answer this question. The primary functions of the transport layer in both OSI and the TCP. You should be able to answer this. And I've already provided you the answers here. So go take your time and then read on them. You must know the functions of the 2 layers, the OSI and then TCP. We all know that OSI is made up of 7 layers, and each layer is responsible for specific task in terms of data transmission. And its main purpose, the main purpose of the OSI is to allow data communication or intercommunication across different network platforms without any restriction. And it's being governed by ISO. The ISO, which is, what's the full meaning of ISO? Hello, ISO.
International Standard Organization.
Come again.
So, International Organization for Standardization.
Edward, remember the day we met here face to face, I asked this question. Someone said the same to the first one, international organization, the international something, the International Standard Organization. Yes, because the International Standard Organization. It is not like that.
It's for.
That's what I want to emphasize on. It's not like that. It is International Organization for Standardization. That's the full meaning. International Organization for Standardization. That's the full meaning. That's what defined how data should be transmitted from one network to another. Now, when you look at the OSI, the 7 layers, which was defined by the department from the ARPANET, Department of Defense, they use that one for communication. In the modern networking or the modern communication system, uses 4 layers, which is the TCP IP. And what happened is the first 4 layers of the first 3 layers of the OSI have been combined to form 1 layer known as application. Then the transport layer is maintained. Then the network in the OSI layer has also been replaced with the, let me show you so that I don't be stressing myself. The network layer has also been replaced with the internet. And then the last 2 at the bottom have also been replaced with network layer. So instead of having 7 layers like this, which is used for data transmission, divided into 3 segments, upper layers, and middle layer, and then a lower layer, it has been reorganized to 4. So we have the normal way. The last time we met, I've given you these acronyms, how to remember it in the order of reference. That all people seems to need data processing. And then we have the please do not throw special pizza away, depending on the area you are looking at it from. From top down, you use all people seems to need data processing. Then from bottom up, when you talk about please do not throw special success away. So what happened at each layer has clearly been explained from the bits up to the frame, packet, segment, and the data. So when you come to the TCP IP, the layers has been reduced and they make it easier for communication. So you look at it from here, the comparison of the 2, the application layer up to physical on the OSI. When you come to the TCP IP, we have the application layer with a number of protocols. That's why sometimes it's called protocols stack or suite. Now, you should know the layers with the corresponding protocols. So instead of 7 for OSI, now with TCP, we have 4. So you must be able to know them and know the function of each layer and the protocol that operate on each. So this slide, I've already sent it. I will upload it on the LMS for your reference. Know the layers and the protocols that operate on each of them. So that is what I want you to know. So when we are meeting next time, we'll be referring to them. And this is the summary in the pictorial form to make it easy for you to remember and what happened at each of the layers. So on this note, I want to invite questions if anyone is having any concerning how these layers work. If not, then remember, this is the foundation to networking. When you are setting up a network, you use this. When you are doing troubleshooting, you also use it to reference your troubleshooting. Everything that you do, the devices that you are buying, you should know which of the layers each device is operating and the protocols that operate or that is supported on each of the layers. So, question time before we leave. Okay. If no, then the next thing we should do, there will be a revision on IP addressing and subnetting. Hello. IP and subnetting. So please, the next topic you should also revise before our meeting is to go and read or revisit the IP addressing and the subnetting, because we'll use it in our VLAN configuration. So we have to do a brief recap on the IP addressing and subnetting. This time we'll do more of the subnetting. And the one that were not possible, we later saw that it was possible. This time we'll see more possibility of the IP addressing. Thank you very much for coming to class today. On this note, I want to end here and then ask the last chance for questions. If not, then we'll end here. See you, God willing, next week, and then take my word before you go. Any question? So let me show you my goodbye message. I didn't hear of my friend today. He just sits around.
I did.
Okay. Now, this is the message I have for you. That, beloved, I wish above all things that thou might prosper and be in health, thy soul prosperous.
Amen.
I pray progress in your education, progress in your finance and everything. Remember,
Amen.
it also must increase. Thank you for coming to class. Meditate upon this. See you, God willing, next week.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nice day.
Same good carry.